Welcome back to Dinar Community Channel. They laughed at the Iraqi dinar. They called it worthless, a scam, a fantasy. But today, Iraq pulled the pin, and the world just heard the explosion. This isn't speculation anymore. The IQD bomb has officially gone off, and nothing will ever be the same. It finally happened. After years of speculation, whispers, denials, and global skepticism, Iraq has finally pulled the trigger on a financial event that will echo across history. The Iraqi dinar, long dismissed as a failed relic of war and economic mismanagement, has detonated in the most dramatic way imaginable. The global financial system wasn't ready, and now it must reckon with a new player rewriting the script. The IQD bomb has officially gone off. This moment didn't appear out of thin air. It was years in the making, decades, really, rooted in the fall of Saddam Hussein, the U.S. invasion, the restructuring of the Central Bank of Iraq, and the painful rebuilding of a shattered nation. For many, the Iraqi dinar was a punchline, the subject of mockery and scam warnings. But for those who held on, researched the movements, connected the geopolitical dots, and trusted the process, vindication has arrived in explosive fashion. The global financial community has been caught flat-footed. Just days ago, the Iraqi government made a historic announcement that sent immediate shockwaves through currency markets and geopolitical arenas. A full, official revaluation of the IQD was confirmed, not rumors, not private speculation, not blog posts or leaked memos, an actual, sovereign, ratified declaration that the Iraqi dinar had been restored to its true value. Overnight, Iraq moved from the margins of financial relevance to the center of a global economic reset. What made this so seismic wasn't just the revaluation itself, it was how strategically it was executed. Iraq coordinated the moment with the central bank, with silent partners across the Gulf, and with quiet preparations from financial institutions in Europe and North America. The IMF and World Bank had been signaling for months that something major was on the horizon, but few imagined it would be this fast and this bold. The revaluation rate was not a small bump. It was a leap, one that pushed the IQD into parity with major global currencies, including the US dollar and euro. Some estimates peg the new rate above $3.75 USD, with speculation that it may climb further in post-revaluation stabilization. For holders of IQD, this was the moment of truth. For years, they were told it was a scam. Major media outlets painted them as conspiracy theorists, financial fools, or victims of pump-and-dump schemes. Banks refused to speak on it. Currency exchanges kept it off their radar. Family members questioned their sanity. But now, reality has flipped. Those who held dinar are suddenly sitting on assets worth exponentially more than before. Exchange centers around the globe have been flooded. Chase Bank, Wells Fargo, HSBC, and even regional banks across the Middle East are now onboarding IQD holders into private wealth management divisions. Inside Iraq, the celebration is even louder. The revaluation isn't just about wealth, it's about dignity. For a population long battered by war, corruption, occupation, and instability, the restored power of their national currency is a statement of sovereignty. It says, "We're back." The move was backed by a dramatic increase in oil production, a rise in gold reserves, and a raft of international trade agreements signed in secret over the past year. Iraq didn't just flip a switch. They lit a fuse, and now the detonation is reshaping global finance. Analysts are scrambling to understand the implications. The Middle East, long a region of American and Western control, is pivoting. Iraq's economic resurgence is triggering responses from Iran, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and even the United Arab Emirates. Regional currency alliances are now being proposed. Discussions are underway for oil contracts to be settled in IQD instead of USD. That's right, de-dollarization is gaining teeth, and the IQD is now part of that equation. In the US, the response has been mixed. Financial elites are privately stunned. They knew the moment would come, but few believed Iraq would bypass traditional US coordination. But in truth, the signs were there. For the past 2 years, Iraqi delegations have traveled to China, Russia, and India. They've diversified trade and currency reserves. They've even hinted at joining BRICS or at least aligning with their multipolar vision. The U.S., despite its historical role in Iraq's rebuilding, was largely sidelined in this announcement. Now, U.S. banks are trying to catch up, fielding thousands of calls from IQD holders and attempting to align with updated foreign currency protocols. In an ironic twist, the same institutions that once warned against the dinar are now quietly facilitating its exchange. And it isn't just financial institutions. Media outlets that once mocked dinar holders are now rushing to issue correction stories, updates, and emergency reports. The stock market saw ripple effects within hours. Gold prices surged. Cryptocurrency markets fluctuated as traders sought to reposition portfolios. Currency speculation, once confined to Forex specialists and geopolitical hawks, is now being discussed in mainstream finance circles with urgent seriousness. The revaluation of the IQD didn't just change Iraq's status, it rewrote the global script. The key factor here is timing. Why now? Why did Iraq choose this moment to pull the pin? Several strategic layers answer that question. First, Iraq's oil exports hit record highs in the past 6 months. The country has leveraged new pipeline deals with China and India and is sitting on one of the world's largest untapped oil fields in the Western Desert. With oil prices climbing, Iraq's revenue position is strong, and unlike before, it's now being managed under tighter transparency controls. Second, the Central Bank of Iraq recently announced massive increases in gold and foreign currency reserves, enough to back a revaluation at a stable rate without risking inflationary collapse. Third, Iraq's political scene, once a volatile cauldron of factional chaos, has stabilized. Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani has built a powerful coalition backed by regional neighbors and international partners. His administration recently enacted sweeping anti-corruption reforms and rebuilt trust with the IMF. These weren't minor reforms, they were surgical, deliberate, and internationally monitored. Iraq spent the last 3 years cleaning house, and now it's reaping the reward. Another major signal: digital finance. Iraq launched its own digital dinar pilot program 6 months ago, a move many ignored. But insiders knew it was a foundational piece of the new monetary system. Blockchain-backed, transparent, and scalable, the digital dinar offered a mechanism to track, stabilize, and control post-RV liquidity. That program, now fully rolled out, ensures that Iraq's financial system isn't just revalued, it's modernized. And let's not ignore the silent players. Sovereign wealth funds from the Gulf, Asia, and even Africa have been accumulating IQD for over a year. They weren't buying for speculation, they were preparing for partnership. Iraq's new economic model is one of regional collaboration, and it is attracting global capital like never before. The new Silk Road is flowing through Iraq, and the world is waking up to that fact. Still, the most immediate impact has been personal. Everyday Iraqis, long accustomed to struggling with low purchasing power and unstable prices, are now seeing their wealth restored. Overnight, savings accounts have multiplied. Business owners can trade with more confidence. Young professionals who once sought escape from Iraq are now seeing opportunity at home. This is not just a revaluation, it's a revival. A psychological shift. A national rebirth. But as with any explosion, there are risks. The IQD bomb's detonation has created winners, but it may also trigger aftershocks. Inflationary pressures, black market activity, and foreign policy retaliation are all on the table. Already, certain nations are pushing back. Sanctions may be threatened. Currency manipulation accusations may arise. And internal corruption, though reduced, is not entirely gone. Iraq will need to manage this transition carefully. That said, the global community has no choice but to acknowledge reality. Iraq has arrived. The world must deal with the new IQD, no longer a discarded currency of a broken state, but a rising benchmark for a new financial order. Those who doubted, dismissed, or ignored the IQD story are now racing to understand what they missed. For years, holders of the dinar were laughed at, sidelined, and mocked. But now, they are at the center of one of the greatest financial stories of the 21st century. The dream is no longer hypothetical. It's here, tangible, bankable, real. The IQD bomb has gone off. The financial world is still reeling. And Iraq, the nation that was once written off as a failed state, is now rewriting the rules of the game. What comes next will be studied for decades, but one truth is undeniable: the explosion has already changed everything. Iraq just pulled the pin. And the world will never be the same again. Like and subscribe for more videos.